Hey guys, in today's video, you can learn to manage configuration and assess the environment variables in NestJS application. So you can see I have created my NestJS project, which consists of our root app module, service, and the controller. Let me create .env file. And we can just mention our port value to 4000. So let's include this in our main.ts. And we can just check in console by using process.env. Now let's go to our terminal and run project using npm run start dev. Our Nest application is now successfully started. You can see we are getting console of undefined for our process.env.port value. So it's because we haven't implemented the config module in our system. In order to fix this, we should first install our NestJS config command, which would be the following command. You can see we have successfully installed this package, and now in order to configure it, we need to go to our app.module.ts. Let's import our config module here, which would be config module.forloop. If we want other submodules to access env, we need to keep importing this config module in other parts of our module also. So if we don't want to keep importing config module, we can use isGlobal to true here. This will simply make env accessible without needing to import config module in other modules once it's been loaded in our app module. Now we can access env variable default to our .env. Now if I again run this project, you can see now on the console we have the port value of 4000. With this step, we have successfully fetched our env values from .env. We can also set the custom env file path. Let's again go back to our app module. For that, we need to include env file path here. And inside this, I can simply customize to .development.env. You can also set any of your development or production environment. Now if we reload this, we can see it's again giving undefined. Since we are now giving our customized, we should store in development.env. So let me create another root file .development.env. I will mention port value to 3000 in this case. So let's again run our project. Now on the terminal, you can finally see the configured port, which is from our customized .development.env. We can also access multiple variables. So let's add div name and we can give its value to test. So let's check our console again. we are only getting port here. It's because we forgot to console dv in our main.ts. So let me just copy this and we'll simply replace it with the added dv variable. So now you can see we have our port and database values as well. So we can also access multiple variables with this approach. We can also access using the config service. Using config service, we will be testing in new folder. With this, you can also learn how you can access env in other modules. So let's generate our new module, controller and service using NestCLI. For the module, it would be NestGenerate module and we can name it to test. Now we have our test module inside the test folder. Similarly, I will create controller and service as well. Since we are using NestCLI, our created module will be auto-updated in our root app module. So this will be our controller. And finally, this is our test service. In the service, first we need to inject the config service. Let's check the console inside this function. I will just remove this from main.ts. Back in our service, include the config service .get. For the port, it would be number. Let's also add dv name. So the dv name would be of type string. That was for the service. And let's finally set the route in the controller. We need to inject our test service. And let's include HTTP request to get. We can set the route path to env. Then we will be calling our SSENV function from the service. Finally, we can return message of env access successfully. We can test this in Postman now. First, let's run our project. Let me open my Postman. If you are new to Postman, you can watch my video on how you can install and use Postman. I have also provided the link of that video on my description below. Let's create a new collection. I will name it to env variables. And here we can add request. This would be our get request. So let's include our port, which would be 3000. And the route would be test/env. Then just click on send. You can see we have the message of environment variable success. Now in our console, you can see the port and DB name which is coming from our test service. For newly created service also, we assessed our env using config service. Let's go to our app.module.ts. You can see we have set is global to true here. I can also show you the result without including this. So let me just comment this. Let me again click on send. You can see we are facing error. Let's check on our backend terminal. You can see it's giving the problem that Nest can't resolve dependencies of test service and stating that the config service must be part of the current test module. The problem is because of the config module not being imported in our test module. Since we have now not included our is global to true, we should import our config module in the test module. Let me save this and again go back to our Postman. Now we can see we have the success response after we included the config module. And on the terminal also, we can see the port and database value from the development.env. So you can follow any approach, and if you don't want to include is global, make sure you import the config module in other modules. Otherwise, you can just set is global to true in your app module. So that was all for assessing environment variables in NestJS. In this video, we have successfully configured and assessed environment variables in NestJS. Thank you guys for watching this video.